joined by our friend Nicole Parker. She's a Fox contributor and a former FBI special agent. Nicole, great to have you back. It's my understanding that you at one point were at the Bureau while Comey was the director. What was that traumatic experience like for you?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. I always love to join y'all. I can tell you that I love being an FBI special agent, but the moment that I knew that things were going downhill at the FBI was July 5th of 2016. And it was when Jim Comey got in front of the American people and said that no reasonable prosecutor would charge Hillary Clinton for her mishandling of classified information on her personal server. And at that moment, it was just downhill with Comey. I mean, it was an absolute train wreck. And then you go into Operation Crossfire Hurricane and his involvement with that. And he, I think, single-handedly destroyed the FBI. And I think that many of my FBI colleagues would certainly agree with that. The FBI has never recovered since his destruction. I can tell you that under Robert Mueller, he left the FBI. Comey comes in, and we're thinking, okay, let's see what this new director is all about. And he purported himself as being very moral, a strong moral compass, and he does the right thing, and I'm this great guy. And I'll tell you that at first we were fooled. Like, we were like, wow, this guy seems really cool. Like, he seems very, gregarious and for the agents. But I can tell you it went downhill very quickly. And I'd say most FBI agents, current and former, see him as the root cause of the FBI's problems and a total narcissist.
All right, Nicole, this post, 8647. I am maybe spending too much time trying to delve into James Comey's head. But based on the way that he initially posted it and the fact that he's previously posted shells that show, or a shell that shows a suggestion that you should vote for Kamala Harris, I do not find it persuasive that he was just walking along the beach, took a random picture of 4 numbers spelled out on the beach, decided to share that with his audience, and had no idea what the significance of the 4 numbers was, and nothing to do with the creation of the 4 numbers in Seashells. You're a former FBI agent.
Right.
Am I crazy for that analysis? Point 1. Point 2, I want you to analyze this further as if this were an investigation.
Mm-hmm.
I would think that this could lead to his phone being seized, because we know the evidence of this photo presumably came from his phone. I don't think he was walking around with an iPad or with a laptop outside taking photos, right?
Correct.
And I think he likely has other photos that might suggest who did this or what the intent was. Am I crazy to you for either of those aspects of analysis?
I'm very impressed with your investigative skills. I would say that you're spot on. First of all, Comey is playing ignorance right now. Oh, I had no idea. Okay, first of all, Jim Comey, you were the FBI director. You should know better. Anyone that knows anything about crime, terminology, you know better. He knew exactly what he was doing. And I think the fact that you first are going to look at the individual. As an investigator, you're going to look at the person, and I'm going to look at Jim Comey, and you're immediately going to draw a profile. Jim Comey's not some random guy off the street who was in Butler, Pennsylvania, some no-name kid. He was the former FBI director, okay? And then you're going to look at his track record. What is his relationship to President Trump? 47. Okay, he got fired by President Trump in May of 2017. His ego has been bruised so badly, and he has never recovered from that. That firing was absolutely justified, but again, he is the former FBI director, and his track record is that he was fired and that he's actually said that President Trump is a threat to America. He believes that Trump is a danger to our country. The chance of this being a coincidence is absolutely zero. And again, as an agent, you're going to go in, you're going to gather all of the evidence. You're going to look at what he did. Did he take the picture? How did that shell formation occur? The Secret Service will be visiting his house. You have to remember Secret Service falls under the Department of Homeland Security, which is Kristi Noem's realm. Obviously, Kash Patel and the FBI will be there to provide any support necessary. I think it is fair at this point that this is fully investigated. I think that Jim Comey for too many years has skated by on things and gotten right up to the edge. He doesn't know when to stop. He likes to be in the spotlight. He likes the attention, and he doesn't have a plan to be in the spotlight. He just likes to create problems. And he's creating problems for himself right now. I know that he has a book that's coming out. Maybe he thought it would be a good move to have some, media blitz. If anything, this is going to be disastrous for his media appearances. This is going to hurt him drastically. But again, from an investigative perspective, I do think the Secret Service is going to delve into this quite deep, especially considering the fact that President Trump has already had 2 assassination attempts on him. And they take that rhetoric very seriously. And I've worked closely with the Secret Service. Do I think that he's definitely going to be prosecuted? That's up to the agents and the prosecutors. It is very difficult to prove, some of these threat cases and intent. But again, for him to say he didn't know, he absolutely knew. He knew. You don't just stumble across a shell formation on the beach and then you take a picture of it and you choose to post it on your social media. That's quite insulting to the American people and, frankly, to the law enforcement agency that he used to be the director of. And again, let me just note, he was not respected at the FBI. He was disgraceful, and he has recently talked about potential threats against public servants. I believe this was a few months ago. There's these ongoing threats and poll workers in the election, but yet you choose to post this photo. And then he says, I didn't know that, 86 implied violence. How does everyone else know this, but not you? And so, again, I think he's definitely in some hot water right now. And I think it's catching up to him. He has skated by for so many years on things that were just inappropriate. He has never been federally charged or charged with anything. Again, I'm not saying I think a charge is going to come of this, but I do think a very thorough investigation and a reasonable prosecutor will give it a very good look and see what they've got. So I do think
Nicole,
they would go through
I don't
his
know
phones and
how
all
this
of
is
those
going to
other
go.
things. Right.
I don't know how this is going to go, but certainly there's a possibility here that Comey can go full Tapper, and his book could be, "If I rigged the whole Russia collusion thing, this is how I did it," and then put it forward for everybody so that we could all sit around and say, "So wait, are you saying that you're responsible for that, or are you?" Because apparently that's how the Democrats roll these days. They do a really bad thing, and then they write a book truth-telling about the bad thing that they did. But let me ask you about the FBI and what's going on internally there, to the degree that you're hearing from former colleagues who are still inside the Bureau. I know Kash Patel. I know Clay and I both know Kash and both know Dan Bongino. These are very competent people. They're patriots. Deputy Director Bongino has been pretty regularly updating everybody with some of what they are up to internally. Can you give us any insight into how the FBI is being cleaned up and what is going on over there now that this administration finally is in a position to do something about all the deep state shenanigans, corruption, and malfeasance that we have seen?
Right. So, again, going back to the original statement that I made on air with y'all, for me, 2016, July 5th of 2016 is when I started seeing the very deep corruption. This corruption did not start overnight. We're now in 2025. This has been going on for a very long time. And Director Patel has a lot of work cut out for him. I myself am working on a book right now and just laying out all the reasons when I was making the decision to leave and to walk away. I mean, it's just overwhelming, one thing after another, after another, after another. And as you come in as the FBI director, first you have to get up to speed on the organization itself. He has to determine, who can I trust here? Who is legitimate and who is part of the problem? Like I said, there's 2 FBIs. FBI 1 are the good folks doing the good work, honest, hard workers. FBI 2, deep corruption, problematic, and they need to be, gotten rid of. And I think the goal for Director Patel is to make it one FBI, but he's got to determine where are the underlying issues. And I think he started at the top, right, on the 7th floor with executive management. Those individuals were all, they are all gone, and he's brought in new people. That's a very good first step. Looking at each individual field office, the special agent in charge of all the 55 field offices around the country, he's looking at every single one. And then you've got to go under that layer, the assistant special agents in charge. Then you have to go under that layer, the supervisory special agents. And then you get down to the field agents. So I think what he's doing is taking the overwhelming problems. For example, like we've spoken before, the kneelers to, the BLM protesters, they got promotions. That is unacceptable. Those people have been moved out to other assignments. And, Elvis Chan, who was heavily involved with big tech collusion out of the San Francisco field office. There's other individuals that I know are being, looked at, reassigned. And again, it's not because of, they support Trump or they don't support Trump or they supported Biden or don't. No one cares who you voted for. Did you do the right thing with your law enforcement power when you were at the FBI? Are you using your power to push your own political and social agendas? And unfortunately, a lot of people at the FBI did. And so he's got a big task in front of him, because what he has to do is he has to eradicate FBI 2, people that were doing the wrong thing, abusing their power. Simultaneously, he has to build up FBI 1, because people like myself and amazing colleagues I worked with, they're doing good work. And so you've got to continue to build morale and maintain that while saying, FBI 2, you are going to be gone. And so I commend him. I think he's doing a very good job. But for the naysayers that say, well, I haven't seen this happen or this, this problem didn't happen overnight, and solving it isn't going to happen overnight either. But I think with Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, the Attorney General Pam Bondi, this is a solid team of individuals, and they will make the FBI great again. I truly believe that.
Nicole, I'm continuing with my Sherlock Holmes moves here. Here's what Jim Comey actually posted, wrote after he posted. I posted earlier a picture of some shells I saw today on a beach walk, which I assumed were a political message. I didn't realize some folks associate those numbers with violence. It never occurred to me, but I oppose violence of any kind, so I took the post down. Now, again, I think the odds that he didn't have anything to do with these seashells is very, very low. But he's acknowledging that he knew the 47, and he's acknowledging that he knew 86 meant something bad, right? Because otherwise it could be 86-47 could mean that you're a huge fan of Trump.
Mm-hmm.
What is his real defense here? I think Buck may be right that it's just going to be, I thought it just meant like Trump stinks. But given that he's an FBI agent, what percentage of FBI agents in your experience would know that 86 meant kill?
Again, I work violent crime, so I look at things differently. If you're a white-collar agent that's like crunching numbers and bank records, and maybe you're not an expert
that's a good
on
point.
things
So
like
for
that,
people who are in the FBI, and he would have worked as an FBI supervisor at all different things, but yes, for your point, for people who are engaged in investigating violent crime, obviously that's different than somebody who's in accounting that's trying to figure out whether there's drug running in that way. What percentage of people that have been involved in violent crime investigations do you think would have recognized that?
I would say a large majority. Because we have to understand and know the lingo, the verbiage, things that people are saying, what that means, how you interpret it. But again, it can be noted that Jim Comey was never an FBI agent, and that's very obvious with the way that he ran that FBI. He was a DOJ guy through and through. But again, to play the ignorance card, he knows very well, turning a blind eye is not, that's just not a great defense. And the problem that I have is that he's gotten away with these types of things for so long, like such egregious activity. And it's going to catch up to him. I think my recommendation with Jim Comey is I would suggest you stay quiet, keep yourself out of trouble, stop trying to be in the spotlight. But to play ignorance, again, you've got to look at intent and looking at how that even transpired. And Clay mentioned the phones, looking at what else might be on there. But again, I do not think that he did not know. Whether it's to kill, to get rid of, even to say to get rid of. Okay, let's say he didn't mean, to kill. He knew it was a political statement. He clearly admitted that. It's a political statement. So what did you think it was a political statement of? To just get rid of Trump? Okay, well then what does that mean? How is that any different? You want to get rid of Trump? Why are you, as the FBI director,
in the wake of double assassination attempts, getting rid of Trump has quite a different connotation than it might have before. Nicole, keep up the
Correct.
good work. We appreciate you, and thanks for coming on and breaking all this down for us.
All right. Y'all have a great one. Have a great weekend. Bye.
We will for sure. That's Nicole Parker, former FBI agent. Fantastic at what she does. You guys can find her on social media. I'm sure we'll tag her for some of those clips as Sherlock Clay is on the case. I'm sorry. I don't buy anything that Comey is saying. All through the South, Southeast, Northeast, people getting pounded with rain this week. We're about to have some big storms roll through here in Nashville potentially as well. If your gutters have leaves, branches, or in my case, wiffle balls, and also Nerf footballs. You're going to have a mess on your hands. Clean Gutter clears the way for a carefree summer, whether you're tired of unclogging your gutters, don't want an older family member getting on a ladder. It's time for a better solution. Right now, you can save up to 30% off at leaffilter.com/Clay and Buck. Gutter clogs aren't just a nuisance. They can cause extensive water damage too. Let Leaf Filter's trusted pro help protect your home from flooding, foundation issues, and more. They'll clean out, realign, and seal your gutters before installing Leaf Filter's award-winning and patented technology. This is America's #1 gutter protection system. Schedule your free inspection now. Get up to 30% off your entire purchase at leaffilter.com/Clay and Buck. That's LEAF filter.com/Clay and Buck. See the representative for warranty details.